All the places.
On all the channels?
All the places.
All right. So I'll go and try to see if I can. Are you monitoring the chat there? If you don't have it, and you don't worry about it.
I'm going to try having it open, yes.
Oh, okay. Well, good luck.
Raw counter.
Need it.
Okay. So let me guys' reading of the oath, please. The little legal statement. Whichever one of you has it up first, go ahead. Just go ahead and go with it.
Give me a minute. I'll find it.
Okay.
I
do solemnly swear.
Yeah, that one.
To no.
Oh my gosh. This isn't Harry Potter.
How did I get it in? Hold on. Give me a second. I could just look in all inbox.
Got it.
Okay, go for it.
Is it from you, Paul?
I, Kirk Plaisance, give permission to Francisco Ruiz and the Retro Rewind podcast to use my voice and vocal commentary recorded within the Retro Rewind podcast. In any past, present, and future recordings of the Retro Rewind podcast, and in any and all media in perpetuity without a restrictions and with no expectation to receive compensation now or in the future as it relates to the past, present, and future recordings of the Retro Rerun podcast. Best host prep.
Awesome. Thank you. Andy?
Nice.
That's now I gotta find it. Kirk, can you forward me that?
Yep. Let me just say it for you. I, Andy.
Yeah, that's how legal statements work. Absolutely. Totally binding. I, Paul, give Francisco all of my cool stuff.
Oh, here it is. You ready? I got it. Your name, I'm just kidding. Andy Ricketts, give permission to Francisco Ruiz and the Retro Rewind podcast to use my voice and vocal commentary recorded within the Retro Rewind podcast in any past, present, and future recordings of the Retro Rewind podcast in any and all media in perpetuity without any restrictions and with no expectation to receive compensation now or in the future as it relates to any past, present, and future recordings of the Retro Rewind podcast.
Awesome. Okay. Yeah! All right, guys.
You also don't get any problems if you get sued. It all is your fault, not ours.
Wow. No. That wasn't in there. Sorry. Are you guys ready to go then? I think we're all in as good places we're going to be. So thumbs up if you're good to go.
Hold on, let me get the
cranberry spray
up.
Nice.
Okay, I think I'm ready.
Which made the Rushmore show last week.
Nice.
It's so good.
All right, here we go, guys. Let's see. Okay. 5. Let me just double check that this is. Oh, Paul, did you have Twitch up?
I did, but then I closed it.
Can you
accidentally.
open it up just to make sure we're hearing everyone so that it is being recorded? I just want to double check that.
All right, let me unmute it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Here's me talking, and then Paul or Andy or Kirk talk.
Hello. Check 1, 2. I'm here.
Yep, we're good to go.
Okay, cool. It doesn't look like anyone's there. There's only one viewer, Paul. So.
Oh, that is.
That's me.
Well, yeah, I figured. Okay. All right, here we go, guys. In 5, 4, 3. You know Dasher and Dancer and Prancer and Vixen, Comet and Cupid and Donner and Blitzen. But do you recall the most famous podcast of all? This episode of the Retro Rewind podcast.
Reflux capacitors, fluxing, crew to stations. Scanning for Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, 1964. Prepare to rewind in 3, 2, 1.
Welcome, rewinders and new listeners, to the Retro Rewind podcast, where we take a fresh look at movies and games from 15 or more years ago. I'm your captain of the pod, Francisco Ruiz, and I'm joined by your XO and mine, Paul, the master red-nosed reindeer interrupter powers.
That's because we're a couple of misfits.
Yeah.
We're a couple of misfits.
That sounds about right. But we also have for this discussion a couple of other misfits. I don't know if you guys would label yourselves misfits. Maybe you're like the cream of the crop.
We rise to the top.
Exactly. Rise to the top. There you go. But we have here for our Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer discussion to close out our wintermas 2022 season. We welcome aboard for the first time teacher and co-host of the Rushmore Show, Kirk Plaisance. Am I saying your name right, Kirk? I should have asked you that beforehand.
Yeah, it's got multiple pronunciations, but I'll take that one.
Okay.
Plaisance is the like Renaissance.
Kirk Plaisance.
Plaisance.
Exactly.
Oui, oui.
Glad you're here, Kirk. And in addition to Kirk, we have aboard youth pastor and other co-host of the Rushmore Show, Andy Ricketts. Hey, Andy.
Is happening, guys. Excited to be here.
Excited to have you here. Am
You
I
didn't say
pronouncing?
that. You didn't say his last name right.
I was about to say, did I pronounce your last name right, or is it Andy Ricketts?
Pronounced Jones.
Jones. Oh, that's interesting
Yeah, no, you
spelling
got it
for
right.
Jones.
Oh, go away or I shall taunt you a
I
second
wasn't
time.
doing that, Paul. I was doing my Cajun. Anyway, now that you have a quick flyby of who we are, Paul, can you give us a quick production specs for Rudolph the Red-Nosed?
Sure. Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, the movie, was released October 16th, 1998. It was rated G. It was directed by William R. Kowalchuk Jr. Yeah.
Paul.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're reviewing the 1964 version, the stop motion animation,
What?
Burl Ives.
Oh.
Go back.
Hold on.
Rewatch that. Use the time machine.
I have to let me go back and rewatch the right one. All right, Rudolph the Red-Nosed, red-nosed with the D reindeer was released December 6th, 1964. That one?
Yes, that's the one.
Okay, good. I watched the right one again. All right, here we go. All right, it runs 47 minutes and is rated G and is directed by Larry Romer. It was written by Romeo Muller, Robert May, and Johnny Marks, with lead stars being Burl Ives, Larry D. Mann, and Billy May Richards, and Paul Soles. The music was composed by Johnny Marks. Now,
Awesome.
Because this wasn't released theatrically, I just thought for fun, would you like to do the 1998 box office trivia for that one?
Sure. Why not, Paul?
All right. Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, the movie, was made for about $10 million.
Okay.
And it earned only just over $100,000.
Wow.
Wrong one. Let's see. Hold on. So that's the decepted one. Oh, there it is. Here, hold on.
Wah, wah.
So given this and the fact that it was released theatrically in 1998, how high in the box office do you think it ranks among the movies released theatrically in 1998? We'll go for the top 500.
Top 500? Oh my gosh. Okay.
Wow.
Andy, what is your guess?
418.
418. Okay. Kirk, how about you?
417.
Wow.
Nice.
Get out of
Price is
here.
writing. You're a co-host. All right. No guess.
Actually, I'll go with about 385.
385. Okay. So wait, was that Kirk or Andy that said that?
Kirk.
385 for Kirk. And then Ashley in chat says 446. I'm going to guess solid 499.
I was
Wow.
about to say that.
So, Paul,
Okay.
where did it actually end up?
Because the longest list I found was up to 200, and all the movies were in the top 200 made over $1 million. Anything over 200 wins. So everybody wins this one.
You mean anything under 200 wins?
Anything under 200 wins, yes.
It landed at about 2,000.
So we
Yeah,
all are
it's
winners.
possible.
That's fantastic.
Yes. Congratulations.
Good.
That's your Christmas gift this year. Merry Christmas. You
Participation
win.
trophy, just what I wanted. Thank you for those factoids, Paul. And let's see if any of them factor into our memory mind meld or subsequent roundtable discussion, which we'll get into once Alice has located our target film.
Alert, alert. Target located. Spoilers incoming. Establishing analysis vector.
And I have no way of playing this on this, so
Okay,
I'll just
that's
add
fine.
in post.
We'll just pretend we played
The trailer for this.
the
Yeah, it's a
TV promo
CBS
for it.
special today on CBS.
Okay.
That commercial definitely brings back some memories about Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, but to give you some context for the things we collectively remembered most before our rewatch, here's our memory mind meld synopsis for this animated short, or stop-motion short. Rudolph is born with a physical defect, aka a shiny nose. So others try to cover it up with shoe polish. Shoe polish comes off, so Rudolph was a castaway, a misfit, and really was being bullied and picked on, and then banished to Misfit Toy Island. Then his nose begins to glow. So Rudolph says, "My body, my choice," and runs away, hiding from embarrassment. Cornelius brings back Rudolph and Yeti. On a foggy Christmas Eve, Santa recruits Rudolph to help guide him through the terrible blizzard with the red nose as high beams. Rudolph's physical defect turns out to be a superpower. So after saving Christmas, Professor X, asks Rudolph if he'd like to join his special school for gifted students, proving once again that your worth is determined by what you can provide for others. I mean, there were certainly some of this movie in that, but I'd say on the whole, this was... But based on those memories, as flawed as they were, what range did they lead you to predict for this film before rewatching it? Classic, nostalgic, or tragic? Let's start with Andy. What was your prediction before you gave this film a rewatch?
I mean, Rudolph is one of the handful of movies that I just automatically lump into classic. I mean, you got to watch. This is every year. Yeah.
All right.
Classic for sure.
You. How about you, Kirk? Do you lump it in with all the other movies?
I think one of the things I sent you guys was the fact that it is so nostalgic. It makes it classic for me. I mean, like, it is my childhood. It is everything about it. So, yeah, I got to go classic right off the bat.
For prediction for Kirk. How about you, Paul?
I grew up like most of us watching it every year as a kid. Liked it as a kid, but honestly, through the years I was growing tired of it, and I hadn't seen it in a while. But I still predicted classic.
Okay. For me, I predicted nostalgic just because, similar to you, Paul, I watched this a lot growing up, but I hadn't seen it in years, and I didn't have a huge desire to watch it again.
I'm same boat.
So I'm like,
That's funny.
It's probably just gonna be nostalgic. But it'll be interesting to see if those predictions pan out. But first, let's get into the things we liked most about Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. Let's spin up our
Best bets.
All right, let's start with Andy. What is one thing you liked about Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer?
Okay, so there's so many great characters in this movie, but if I'm picking one that I just remember, it's Yukon Cornelius. He is an amazing character. The fact that he licks his ice pick for some weird reason, but I love it, and it's the one part I really remembered about it. So Yukon Cornelius. Love that man.
As a kid, I legitimately thought that was a way to find. That's how you find metal, like silver and gold. You gotta lick it to find out.
It's my inspiration for growing a beard is Yukon Cornelius. I just need to get my.
Wow.
I need the mustache.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
He's gonna be like, oh.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, I'm gonna talk about Yukon in a bit later, but Kirk. Was Yukon Cornelius something you liked, or was there some other element of Rudolph that made your like?
It's on one of my likes. Is obviously Yukon. One thing that I love about him is that he uses its thickest peanut butter, and I love peanut butter. But yeah, he's one of my favorite characters, and actually, I kind of talk about it a little later. Something else.
In your tragic maker, I get it. Yeah, I'm in the same boat. Then what's
not tragic maker, but yeah. Okay.
What's something else you like about this film, Kirk?
Yeah. So one of my favorite things about the old style classic films is the voice acting, and I love Burl Ives.
Yes,
I love those guys. All that that they bring to the table. Burl Ives kind of makes Christmas as a kid,
Aw.
listening to him. So yeah, I kind of like voice acting. That's why I like cartoons. I thought
Yeah.
several of these guys are casted really well.
Yeah, I believe, and
Yes.
actually my wife clued me into this. I didn't realize that Rudolph is actually voiced by the same person that voices Tenderheart in the Care Bears and the A's Care Bears
Nice.
movie.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
But okay, so the voice acting, awesome. Paul, did the voice acting make your like list, or was there something else you enjoyed?
No, I got to go back. Well, yes, I enjoyed that, but I got to
No, you
go back
didn't.
to the
It
characters.
didn't make your like list. It obviously didn't. No, go ahead.
But it's because this isn't just a story about Rudolph. It is so rich with other characters. Besides Rudolph, you have Hermie the elf, you have Yukon Cornelius, the Bumble, and nobody wants a Charlie in the box. And then, of course, you have Hello Clarice.
Wait.
Yes.
So
Moon
anytime,
Racer.
huh?
Moon Racer.
Moonrace, yes, the king, the Lion King,
But wait,
the original Lion King.
Hannibal
Griffin
Lecter's
or
in
whatever
this?
he is.
Well, anytime that somebody mentions the line of Hannibal Lecter going, "Hello, Clarice," I always think of this doe because I've seen this way more than I've seen Silence of the Lamb, maybe
Boris
once or
Karloff.
twice.
Oh, okay. I wasn't catching that. Okay, got it. Wow. So you like that there's so many other characters in addition to just
Yeah, and those are just to name a few. I mean, there's like, Santa and Mrs. Claus. There's a ton of them in here. So I like the rich world of characters that this brings.
Something that I also thought was really rich that so often people just associate Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer as that song, but there's so many other catchy songs in this film. Like We're a Couple of Misfits and just several others that were like, wow, this is really rich with music and fun music that you're used to hearing around the holidays. So I thought that was really great. All the catchy
That's
tunes.
also my next.
Oh, that was your next.
My next is the songs, the Jingle Jingle Jingle, We Are Santa's Elves.
Yeah.
There's Always Tomorrow. It's slow and boring, but yes, you know what? It's such a good message that there's always tomorrow.
Is there though?
Yes.
We're not promised tomorrow. We're getting speculation a little early, but
tomorrow's going to come regardless if you're there or not.
That's right. Even if we were in heaven tomorrow, it's still tomorrow. But you know what? It's the most wonderful time of the year. It's a holly jolly Christmas, regardless. Right. So it's full of wonderful songs.
All right, fair enough. Kirk, was there something that really resonated with you, like a song or something else you liked?
Well, one of my likes was the idea that the whole movie is based around Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, the song, and you hear it throughout the whole trope. So when I asked my son to sit down and watch it with me, he was like, "I've never seen this before, or whatever." And I was like, "You've sung the song," and so he kind of went along with it and kind of saw how that. And actually, when Andy mentioned that he hadn't seen it in quite some time, I was like, "Dude, you've heard the song several times. It's just the song.
Yeah.
Just put it up."
Exactly.
But I like that. I like all the songs. Yeah, I mean, it's got a good little mix.
Yeah, I love that part in the Rudolph song where they're talking about going to Misfit Island. That's so great. I love that they bring that in there. I'm just busting your chops, Kirk. Andy, what's something else?
It's the extended edition of the song.
Oh, okay. I didn't realize that. Andy, what's something else you liked?
So Kirk and I have talked about this a lot of times, and it's not just this movie, but any movie with good narrating. So I love that I don't know, is it even Frosty? I don't know. It's a snowman. Right in the beginning. What's his name?
The Snowman.
Sam the Snowman. That's Burl.
Narrates the whole thing, and it's just like throughout, you just kind of get his little input throughout. It's just it's a great, if a movie could do narration well, without losing you and keeps you through the whole story, I love that. So a good narrating.
Yeah.
Was fun.
There's narrating for sure. Okay.
And good narrating, Francisco.
Well, it's not Samuel L. Jackson or Morgan Freeman. If it was Morgan Freeman,
that would be epic. I would love to hear that.
It would be my favorite.
Burl, to be honest, Burl Ives probably predates both of them as the quintessential narrator. So
that's true.
That's fair. Well, isn't that Orson Welles' time frame also, though? I think he would be a good narrator.
That kind of whole idea, yeah.
Burl's better.
Fine, whatever. You know what I think is better about this movie?
What?
that we learn that monsters can be overcome, like monsters in our lives can be overcome, and that they can you can overcome them, and they can become our minions.
So
You have
not
to do
just
is
our
remove their teeth.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you just have to remove their teeth, and then they are your humble minions. Exactly.
so mutilate them and then embarrass them, and then they're your slaves forever.
Exactly.
Okay.
They're your familiars, what have you.
Good wholesome family message. I love
Exactly.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good for
I
the
mean, I've
whole-
always wanted an abominable snowman to put the star on the tree. I mean, that's it. I just need one of those.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
you find one. There's probably gonna have teeth, so hopefully you have a dentist around, and then you'll be your goal.
Or at least self-aspiring to be a dentist.
Oh yeah, good.
Yes.
Point. Yeah, it could just
Doesn't
be,
have to be licensed or anything.
No,
No. Just
Wow. Well, let's aspire to give everyone our classic makers for Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. In fact, let's not just aspire, let's do it. So let's start with Kirk. What's your classic maker for this?
Yeah,
show?
I'm gonna go with a simple one. This is the first thing I thought of right off the bat was the whole Rankin and Bass style of animation. I love that's what makes it a classic, or makes it so nostalgic. I feel, to be honest, is the idea of the stop animation. I am fascinated by these kind of things and thinking about how they could put that all together and make it happen, to give emotions to dolls and puppets and things of that nature that they're kind of putting together. I really like that, and how it translates through other movies and other different specials, to be honest. So
Yeah, I honestly prefer their traditionally hand-drawn animated films, I guess, or shorts, to their stop motion, but they definitely have a style that I can totally see getting behind. Stop motion.
I'll say this: I wouldn't want to watch a 2021 movie in that style. I mean, it's outdated. It's there, but that's what I believe is just really cool about it.
Okay. I mean, I it's not 2021. I forget when Kubo and the Two Strings came out, but that's one that's
21. Like, I was meaning new.
You're what?
I said I was meaning something new, and that's just the first date that came out.
Okay. Well, whatever.
Well, yeah, but
Kirk.
are you talking about the style? Sorry, and
No,
you
go
can
for it,
edit
Paul.
this out or keep it in. Are you saying that you wouldn't want to sit through a whole movie of their 2D animation style, or you don't want to sit through a whole movie of their 3D animation
what I was
style?
getting at is, if I was to put out, there's a couple really cool recent Christmas cartoons or whatever. Even if you look at like the Grinch, how it's done 3 different times, I think it's gotten better as it goes forward and with the new style. But because we're in 2022, almost 2023, and I just probably would. It would be interesting, aside from Elf, someone trying to pull that off and do those things again.
Okay.
Have you seen the recreation fans? They remake the Hobbit or Lord of the Rings in the claymation style of the
I haven't
Rankin
seen
and
that.
Bash.
Really?
Yeah.
Those are fun to
Oh,
look
cool.
at. Yeah.
I'll have to check that out. Is that just on YouTube, Paul, or somewhere else?
No, those were images. They're still shots. Just
I was wanting the whole movie. Come on.
I know. Doesn't that sound
That
amazing?
does sound cool. Yes. 13 birds in 10-foot trees. Da, 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 and a fiery breeze. What funny little birds. They had no wings. What funny little birds. I can't remember the rest of the song. That's from The Hobbit. We're not covering The Hobbit. Let me get back on pace here. Something that was my classic maker, and you guys sort of talked around it, mentioned it. I really thought Yukon Cornelius was my favorite thing about this film. I could have watched a whole movie just about Yukon Cornelius. I think I would have been just as entertained.
Hey, yes, we need a prequel.
Yes. I especially love the gag where he's trying to show his dogs how to pull the sled, and then all the dogs get on the sled and he's pulling it. I thought that was just so fun. So that was my.
I like Cornelius's humor. He has a lot of good lines that are very dad joke like.
Yes, absolutely. Got to do the bumble. Andy, what thing did you love the most about Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer?
It's just fitting that Kirk and I are on here, and if you've been a part of our show, kind of watched it, we have this term we like to call Crushmore.
Yes.
Me and Same thing, man. It's that animation. It is quintessential. Just when I think Christmas classic, I can't help but see this style of animation.
Yeah.
And Kirk, you mentioned it. Elf, my favorite Christmas movie of all time, pays homage to it by essentially just having that run through the whole movie.
Yeah.
You know, the
Good luck
scene where
finding your dad, buddy.
bye, buddy.
Bye, buddy.
Like, it's my favorite. I love the quote. But yeah, so the animation is just so good. And unlike you, Kirk, I would love to see a movie just completely done in this style today. It's so good. It's just so what I think, obviously like technology has improved and we don't need to do that anymore, but it looks great. It looks classic.
Is it
I
like
mean, I'm sure they could do it really well with the advancements today.
Absolutely.
It probably would be pretty awesome.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
it's animation. It's so good.
awesome? Very cool, Paul. That leaves you. I know you're an animation connoisseur.
Yeah.
Was the
Yeah.
animation your classmaker, or was it something else?
It's actually, I'm going to go a little bit above and beyond with this.
Oh.
Yes, I do love the character designs of the Rack and Bass style. And then I love the claymation of fulfillment of that and how it moves. I love Burl Ives as the narrator. I love, like I mentioned, the characters and all the songs. But I think what is the best about this special is that it magically and beautifully incorporates all those things together in one. And I think it's the sum total of it is greater than each one of them separately, but to have them all together in one special is just amazing.
Oh, okay, very cool. So it's
See what you
more-
did there.
It's more than the sum of its parts, essentially.
Exactly.
Okay, very cool, guys. Well, there's not all sunshines and rainbows about Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, so we just like, oh wait, hold on. Oh, dang it. I'm looking at my notes. There's one more thing I liked, guys, that I totally forgot about. I'm sorry.
And what's that?
That is Stunning and Brave. Each week, hosts Chris Cowan of the Bad Ball and Bee and Nate Henderson of Some Boring Budgeting Job confess their privilege, spotlight stunning social media posts, and fabricate outrage, all while keeping you super woke and enlightened. They will make you laugh. That's right, you have no choice. Check out Stunning and Brave at stunningandbrave.net.
They're pretty great guys, Francisco, but what does Stunning and Brave have to do with Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer?
Absolutely nothing, which is what you are about to become. Wait, we're not
You
going
lose.
Good day, sir. Yeah, there's no connection, Paul. So I'm just gonna go to trivia. How about that?
Oh yeah, that's good. Let's go with trivia.
All right.
About Rudolph, not about Stunning and
Yes,
Brave, right?
about Rudolph.
Okay, cool. Just making sure.
Did you all realize that when Yukon Cornelius throws his pickaxe into the ground and takes it out and licks it, he's checking neither for gold nor silver? The original concept for the special stated that Yukon was in fact searching for the elusive peppermint mine, which he eventually finds. This
At
scene
the end, yeah.
has since been restored, starting with the 1998 home video VHS release. Is that the one you were referencing before, Paul? 1998, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer?
No, that there is a movie. It's a different,
Oh.
a whole nother
Oh,
separate movie
Oh, okay. So
called
my
Rudolph the
question-
Reindeer. Yeah.
My question to you
the
guys
movie.
is, what stone or precious metal would you be willing to mine for if you discovered a vein of it under your house? So you'd have to like wreck your house basement or foundation, but it'd be worth it to you because you found this metal or precious stone. So let's start with Andy.
Mine would be, and I'm blanking on the name of it, but adamantium, right? Isn't that in Wolverine's?
Oh my
claws?
gosh, I meant a real metal. But okay,
Why? Is this a real question? Why can't he answer?
fine.
Yeah.
I love it. I love the answer.
I
That's
want
why.
unobtainium. Yeah. Okay.
Or
guess that would be it.
vibranium.
Adamantium from Andy. How about you, Kirk?
Well, Paul stole my answer with vibranium.
Ah,
but
Krypton.
I mean, we had to put both precious comic metals in there, but I mean, honestly, it'd probably be gold.
Gold.
I mean, that's what's worth. That's
Yeah.
that's the George of
Exactly.
Yep.
valuable
Yep.
metals.
Exactly.
Yeah.
How about you, Paul?
Yeah, I'd have to go with gold too. I'd have to see what platinum's bringing in and see if it's worth it. I have to, calculate the cost.
Yeah.
But
I get
yeah,
that.
go for
As
gold.
long as it's a significant
Amount. Yeah.
upsell, I mean, we're making a profit.
Could you
It
datum?
probably could be copper, and I'll take out the floor right about now.
If there's enough, yeah.
Could you datum mine? Could you be digging for Bitcoin?
I mean, that'd be my
how would-
answer is Bitcoin, but
For mining for Bitcoin.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
all sort of GPU farm under my house, and that'll be great.
Yeah. I'm gonna ruin my house and farm for the next 40 years to make $10. Sure.
Oh my gosh, Paul.
No, great trivia, Francisco.
Thank you.
And now that we've all had some trivial fun, let's find out what memories you, our awesome rewinders, had about Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer.
All right. Ashley Ruiz says, I remember watching this as a kid and asking my mom why Rudolph sounded like Tenderheart from the Care Bears, not knowing that this predated that by nearly 2 decades. But seriously,
Good
Burl
ear.
Ives' songs make this movie a holiday classic. The story, not so much.
Wow. Philip Hurd says, terrific stop motion animation. It's gorgeous art. He says, it's a gorgeous art form that has always been rare and demands incredible dedication.
Wardell White says, thanks to CBS, Rudolph has been a part of my life since I've been alive. There was something about hearing and seeing the rolling words, a CBS special presentation, then hearing the voice of Burl Ives as a snowman that marked the start of the Christmas season. It's a special that will always be special to my heart and hope it'll become special to other generations. The only tragic maker is if it's interrupted by a CBS special report.
Oh, I hated those. And they interrupted. And Michael Fraley says, I love this film. I have a soft spot for stop motion animation, and this just has enough nostalgic feel good to get past all the glaring plot holes.
What?
Kind of like how Santa can be a garbage human being. Quote, your parents and would-be girlfriend have been missing for months looking for you. Who knows? Could even be dead. But enough about that. Or enough about how you might feel about that, Rudolph. Who's going to pull my freaking sleigh?
Oh my goodness. Diane Blick says the stop motion animation is what she remembered.
Dustin Warford says that licking your ice pick is the best way to look for silver and gold.
Nathan James Norman says, as a kid, I was terrified of the Bumble. My kids, not so much.
Yeah, I was scared of him too.
Me too.
That's a formidable foe. Stanley White says, Yukon Cornelius. He was the greatest of all time.
And then David Bobke finishes up the feedback by saying, I remember Raging Rudolph from Mad TV more. Hermie the Drill, Yukon Corleone, great Christmas memories. If I have Christmas wish to spend, I'd sure like to know what you all didn't like about this movie. Well, Bobo, we're going to get into the things we didn't like so much about Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer right now.
Worst clothes.
All right, and let's start with Kirk this time. What's something you didn't like about Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer?
All right. Well, you guys mentioned it in the classic side of things, on the good side of things. I really didn't like the idea that there are so many amazing characters that are in this movie that are not used in other Christmas films and other Christmas adaptations. Cornelius and Fireball. I mean, what happened to that guy? What happened to Fireball Reindeer? Like, what happened to Hermie? I mean, like, what happened to all the misfit toys?
Right?
I want to know more, and I think we should celebrate some of these guys as Christmas icons.
Absolutely. Hear, hear.
I smell a sequel.
Search for more money.
Yeah. More peppermint.
Search for any amount of money.
Yeah.
Paul, what did you smell but didn't smell so good about this film?
We talked about how we like the stop motion, but a lot of the stop motion just feels robotic in this when watching. It feels like I'm watching like maybe an animatronic show. Like, just the way they move. Now, I understand that, like, okay, look, they're limited by budget. It's for TV. You know, they don't have all the time and dedication.
64.
Yeah.
And I had this on my TV that automatically put it at 60 frames a second, but it still goes. It moves robotically. If this can be improved in a way. One of the ways is to smooth out the movements of that animation.
Well, if AI is good for anything, it should be good for that. So come on.
Yeah, I agree. Get on it, AI. And don't attack back. We'll darken the sky.
Yeah, that's right. Oh my gosh. It's actually the year 2199. Andy, what's something you didn't like about The Matrix? I mean, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer.
Gosh, there's the weird love interest between Rudolph and Clarice.
What?
Like,
Weird?
It happens.
How's it weird?
And listen, guys, listen. Here's the thing: we're introduced to the characters, and immediately, I think you're cute. Where did this happen? Like, we haven't heard anything. Like, they just met. What's happening? I don't.
Andy,
isn't it obvious?
Andy,
Rudolph is hot.
Andy, it's like mating season, and they're animals. Of course, they're going right at
Listen,
right
it is totally unnecessary to the movie. I mean, she goes and looks for him, but like, what does it add to the? It's stupid. I don't think it's. I think
a reason to go look for her after.
No.
I like their relationship.
I don't like it. I don't think they. I don't think they worked out. I don't think it worked out. I think. Yeah.
Who hurt you, Andy? You don't enjoy romance.
It kind of reminded me of.
I don't want anyone to be in love. I don't need love.
Yeah.
Keep your love out of my Christmas special.
I understand. It's feelings based upon appearances, which we know is not necessarily a good thing.
That's true.
It's setting up for a failure. So yeah, I can understand that.
All right, that's fair.
I don't think let's say this. I don't think Clarice was any better than any of the other ones who were making fun of him. I don't think
she talked to him. She didn't make fun of him. Therefore, she's better.
But stay by his side. It's based off of looks that she was like, I think you're cute. Like, it wasn't anything about him. I think even in a positive sense, like, yeah, she stuck up for him. She liked him because she thought he was cute. It was, again, what can you provide for me? I think Clarice is very shallow.
And you had to go back to the time frame. Back in 1964, looks mattered.
I know, but I'm just, it's very shallow. I don't think she was in it for the right reasons. Let me just say that. I think
you know what?
Rudolph's family had money. I think there was some ulterior motive.
We need to have a child panel.
Looking in for the money.
This once Santa realizes what a cash cow Rudolph is, he's gonna be rolling in dough. I gotta get on this train.
He lives on top of that peppermint mine. He lives on top. Yeah.
Oh my word. Well, something I didn't care for so much is actually, like Mike Fraley was referencing, Santa. I don't get Santa in this. First, when he's like, whoa, look at Rudolph go. And then his nose shows that he's actually has a red nose. And he's like, oh, what a shame. I'm like, why is that a shame that he has a red nose? And then later on, it's like, oh, yeah. Oh, you know what? You can guide my sleigh, even though I've essentially counted you out this whole time. And then he's like, hates the song for no reason. And even though it wasn't really a good song, in my opinion, but I don't think Santa is a really good character in this at all. He's not.
You don't like cranky Santa?
No, I don't like cranky Santa. I like.
Well, he hadn't gained his weight yet.
His jolly weight. By the way, if you ever gain weight that fast, you need to go to a hospital.
Yes, exactly.
I love how they're like, don't worry, we'll get him there.
Yeah. As a kid, I thought it was great. Oh, good, they did it. But now that kind of concerns me how quickly that was done.
Diabetes.
Oh, my word. Let's go back to Paul. What else concerned you about this film?
All right. Again, it was really weird. So, you know that a head elf like Herbie doesn't like to make toys. He's also like the choir director. And for a moment in the middle of right before directing the choir, his voice completely changes to a high voice. And then when the song's over, it goes back to, hey, we need to practice and everything. I was like,
too, yeah.
What happened?
Yeah.
Like,
so strange.
they need to redub that line or something there. That was way off.
Yeah. Come on. If he could redub. Let's see who played.
You could get a sound like it would be better because that was a completely different register, the tone and everything. Yeah.
Remember what the name of that guy was? Oh, head elf. Carl Banas.
Hello.
Let's see. Are you still alive, Carl Banas? You are still alive. Get back on this. Re-record. Come on. What are you doing with your life? Doing
We should do
Hello
a GoFundMe.
Kitty? What? Yeah, exactly. GoFundMe for this. I think that's
Yeah.
That-
All we
everyone's
need is what,
best interest.
$5? That'll cover it, right?
exactly. He's on Fiverr, I'm sure. Okay, so that was yours, Paul. You had that weird audio idiosyncrasy. Kirk, what's something else you didn't like?
Well, I thought one thing that was really I don't know, it just didn't fit well with me was when Moonracer, whatever his name is, the lion is on the Isle of Misfit Toys. And the guys, they come up and they're like, we want to stay here. And he's like, no living thing should be here. But what is he doing there then?
Yeah.
Like, I don't quite understand the whole
Rules
idea.
for
I looked
thee,
it
but
up
not
actually
for
to see if
me,
he was
Kirk.
a toy or to see if he was a god, to see what he is. And there are so many people out there that have no idea what the heck this thing is.
Yeah.
And I thought he was a really cool character. I just thought the line was weird. Like, you're like the Wizard of Oz here, and you're casting them out.
Yeah, there
I don't
should
know.
be some
It was just
other
a weird
reason
line
for
for me.
getting them off the island. Like, you could even say, I've seen into your futures and you have a purpose greater than being here. Something like that. I think that would have been cool. And
Or, yes, you can stay, and then Rudolph knows, like, hey, if I stay, the Bumble will attack us, so I'm leaving, and then they leave to go find Rudolph. It's very
that'd be good
simple.
too.
They don't.
Yeah. I like that.
Yeah.
It's Retro
But no.
Rewind's fabulous fan fiction. Yeah, that I totally get that, Kirk. Andy, was that something that you disliked as well, or did someone else make your dislike list?
So my next dislike, I feel like I'm going off the wall on some of these,
No worries.
but this thing bothers me so much is the noise that Rudolph's nose makes when it lights up.
Yes.
So
You're-
annoying. Why would it make a
it's
noise?
the worst. It's like torturous. Like I feel like if you were to want to get information out of me instead
Yes.
of waterboarding, if you just tied me up in a dark room and you continually played the noise of Rudolph's nose shining, I would tell you everything you need to know. I would give away every secret because it's horrible. It's the worst sound.
I agree. It would make so much more sense if they said it's not the nose that's bothering us; it's the sound protruding from it.
Yes.
He had it coming. If
Exactly.
that was the sound his nose made, he didn't deserve any love. Again, going back.
Well,
to that, so.
you can't help that.
Can you guys think of any reason why it would make a sound other than like clogged nasal cavities? That whistle.
Yes. It's a direction for us.
Well,
the
I thought it was
viewers.
also pretty weird that they put shoe polish on his nose or whatever it was,
His
and he
mud,
talked
but
differently.
It's not very comfortable.
Yeah. And then it fell off like it was some kind of hat on there.
Yeah. Well, it's dried mud. It just falls off. Kicks up, falls off.
The best thing about that cover is it blocked the noise.
At least muffled it. I mean, give me something. Yeah, horrible noise.
One thing I dislike before we get to our tragic makers, guys, is, and I know this is going to fly in the face of what some of you guys said. Why do we need a narrator snowman? Why do we need a narrator?
Get
at all?
out of here!
There's so much-
Get out!
He can set up the movie or set up the story, but we don't need him throughout. I'm watching this and I don't need you telling me things. I can see with my eyes what's
Yes,
going
we
on.
do.
You don't need to handhold me here.
Guys, I want to apologize because
For yourself?
Francisco
Okay, that's fine. That's
is
fine.
a Bro Lives hater. I don't know why, but we've covered other things he's been on, and
We
he just
have?
hates him.
Who?
Yes,
What
I don't
else
know
has
why.
he been on?
I don't. Now I have to look it up because I don't recall off the top of my head, but I remember having this discussion. Like, how come you don't like Bruce? He's such a classic voice
I love
of that
a
time.
narration. Just a good narration.
Yeah.
In fact, the whole thing could have been narrated.
Oh,
And we don't have to take the time right now.
Only narration, no video.
I don't know, guys. I'm not on board with all that. So I don't know what to tell you. It's just not I feel like it wasn't so much his voice or anything. His voice was fine, but I don't think we needed his dialogue to. I felt like it was like they thought they had to show and tell, when you really just you're doing plenty of storytelling just with the show, and you don't need to tell us also what's happening. It's like, okay, I'm not a baby watching this. I know you're targeting this for like really young kids, but I think they can handle this.
Yes, it can be done without it, but I think it's better with it. You think it's better without?
I think it's better without it. Yeah. You watch it silent, and you'll tell me it's a better movie for sure.
I just told you no.
You won't be able to hear the nose. That's
Exactly. That's what I mean.
See, we're already finding positives. Okay.
I would gladly take the awful noise of the nose to keep her
Oh
alive.
my gosh.
If that's what it takes.
Well, let's see what it takes to make a tragic maker for all of us. So, Andy, start with yours. What did you hate most about Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer?
I mean, you guys already talked about this, but I think it was the overall sense of body dysmorphia that the dad and Santa promoted throughout this
Yeah.
movie. Like
Yep.
horrible. Like, has there been another movie? And probably so, but has there been another movie where Santa is like that much of a jerk, other than like Bad Santa? Like, but where it's actually Santa being it's horrible. Like, I think about like my kids watching it and like now having this like, is Santa really like that? You know, like this horrible. I you know, it's just it's not good. And
Silent
then
Night, Deadly Night. That's another bad Santa one.
Okay, maybe So there's a few, right? But again, my kids aren't watching that.
It's not portrayed that way in family-friendly ones most of the time. It's very out of character for Santa.
Yeah, absolutely.
The fact that Santa's like talking to his dad and like, you ought to be ashamed of yourself.
Yeah,
how could you have a
that
horrible son like his nose is red? Now, again, the noise of the nose, right? That's whatever. But yeah, like this. Santa sucks in this movie.
Yes.
Can we just be blunt and just say it? Santa sucks in this movie.
Amen.
He's horrible.
Yes. Absolutely.
That's the tragedy. That's horrible.
Mm-hmm. Kirk, I'm curious. Are you gonna crush more Andy's tragic maker, or did you have something else in mind?
Notice that was quiet. I am definitely crush mooring this, and I was definitely the glaring thing that came out. You know, you gave me a list of things I had to write down, and I was like, what are the things I hate? And it, like, opening scene, Santa's here bashing like the Rudolph as a little child, and he's like trying to pronounce his name and stuff. And he bashes him again later when he does the reindeer games and falls. Comet bashes him. His dad bashes him. His mom. The only one that likes him is this ridiculous elf that nobody likes anyways.
Clarice.
And then
Clarice likes him too.
on top of that,
reason.
the elf gets dissed by the main elf.
Yeah.
Right? So they're just all dissing all over the place. There's this, like, I was like, this is supposed to be a family fun Christmas movie. And now watching it again as an adult and kind of like trying to analyze it a little bit, I was like, man, I never realized how awful some of these characters are to Rudolph.
Yeah.
You know, you hear it in the little jingle, the song, but watching it, it's pretty bad. It's pretty bad.
I almost wish there was more of a redemptive or element to it, or a forgiveness element. Like there's some part of Rudolph struggling with, like, he doesn't want to help Santa because of all the pain he caused him, but he realizes he cares more about those kids, and so he's going to forgive Santa for what he did, and move on to help him.
Well, then people would argue, did he really forgive, or he just saying that the kids are more important?
Either way, it'd be a good discussion, and I think that'd be better than, I'm going to use you now because you're useful. I think that's
it would be an honor, sir.
All talking about this whole thing again, going back to Moonracer and all that. He's like, "Hey, could you tell Santa to help these crazy toys?" And I'm thinking, Santa don't like this kind of thing. He don't like things that are on. I was sitting there. There's no way Santa's coming to pick these guys up. I mean, I obviously knew the end of the story, but I was like, no way, no way.
Yeah,
so strange.
I can understand that. Yeah,
I feel like there's pieces of morals of this film that they never like cohese or congeal into like a fixed point. This is what we're supposed to take away from this, other than if you're born a misfit, maybe you can find others like you and form a community until you rise above them and go off to do something good. I don't know what it's trying to say.
Well, The reason why I can understand that is because let's keep this Crushmore Avalanche going, because I agree 100% that there's the prejudice against almost all the lead characters in this, from the head elf where he says,
You'll never fit in.
then we talked about Santa.
You should be ashamed of yourself. What a pity.
And even the Lion King is all everyone has the prejudice all around, and it's like, yeah, you got to create a villain to the story. Oh, we did that with the Bumble. We made him good. Well, we got to create something bigger that they have to overcome. Okay, let's do prejudice. Like, hey, this is the 60s. Let's talk about this. And it's like, we don't need it to that level, guys. It doesn't. How should I phrase it? It brings it down. It could be this special could be so much better without that.
Yeah, I agree. I almost feel like maybe it would have been just fine if Rudolph and Hermie thought that they didn't belong because they were different. Like they didn't like how they were and being different, so they go off. And it's actually, no, we need you to be a part of our. We need a dentist. We need someone to head this sleigh up. But it's you guys.
So it's okay if the it's okay if the reindeer kids call them names, but not
the adults.
Not Blitz saying, "Hey, no more inviting him."
Yeah, exactly.
All right.
Because I mean, kids are kids and they're mean, so that makes sense. But you know what? I'm gonna stop the Crushmore in its tracks. I'm gonna hold back the avalanche with my muscles of.
Gonna pull the reins.
Yeah, I'm gonna pull the reins in on this Crushmore. There you go. That's a much better.
Whoa! I said whoa.
You ought to be ashamed of yourself. What a pity.
Oh my gosh. Anyway, no shame here. Because the thing I hated most about this film, and it's a silly thing, but it's mine all the while. Why would Hermie have a dentist book? How would he even know what a dentist was? Unless there's a dentist there already, which obviously there is not.
Amazon.
There's no Amazon in 1964, Paul. There's no libraries that we see. There's nothing. There's no
FedEx.
reason he would have a dental book. Unless all they had to do was throw in someone, oh, I hitched a ride on Santa's sleigh once and brought this back with me. Just something. No, nothing like that. Just he has it. Why?
I'm glad you brought this up, Francisco, because this was one of my hates as well.
Yes.
I had to avoid it. But the whole idea of Hermie the elf, he's obviously not an elf. And it's obviously what elf took the idea from. I mean, like he doesn't have pointy ears. He has weird hair. He's got different eyes. He's a little boy. He's from somewhere else.
Yeah,
so,
he's not bald like all the other elves are bald.
He doesn't fit the trope. Yeah. There's somewhere. I want to know where he came from, and I wish they wouldn't have given him
obvious where he came from. He came from the dentist's office with that book.
The stork switched the dentist child at birth with an elf. Okay.
Maybe the head elf was actually a failed dentist prior to his job that he took. Oh. And he's saying, you can't take on this because I know. Maybe head elf was looking out for Hermie the whole time and said, look, I know
this makes him the hero.
Great. That's fine. Set that up, movie.
We need prejudice to be the hero of this flick.
Wow. No, that's learning from past mistakes, Paul. Come on.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, now that we've entered all our trajectories into the firing computer, Alice, do you have a firing solution for us?
Firing solution complete. Rating salvo at the ready. On your mark.
All right, guys. Do we rate Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer a classic? We'd recommend anyone go see it, whether or not they've seen it before. A nostalgic, it's worth watching again if you enjoyed it as a kid or growing up. But if you've never seen it before, check out something else. Maybe the 1998 one.
I don't think.
Or is it a tragic? We recommend no one see this. If you've never seen it before, keep it that way. And if you have seen it before, don't sully any good memories you have of it with a rewatch. Excuse me. Let's start with our guests. First, let's start with Andy. What is your final rating for Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer? Having predicted classic, did it stay there or drop down?
Yeah, So I thought classic in the beginning, and I'll tell you why I switched it not to tragic. I just went to nostalgic.
I
didn't
heard
drop too
tragic.
far.
I heard tragic. I'm going to mark down tragic.
I went nostalgic because of
Oh.
this. I watched it with my 8 and my 5-year-old, and about 5 minutes in, they said, "Nah, we're gonna go find something better to do," and they didn't really care for it. And then I realized this is probably just my childhood that I'm bumping it up a little bit higher than I thought. So I'm gonna keep it in nostalgic. I think it's still good enough to watch. I will watch it. I think it's a great, I don't want to say classic, right? But it's one of those iconic ones, right? That is just in the lore of Christmas specials. So, but I'm going to go to nostalgic because I think it's a little bit more to me personally.
Okay. Nostalgic for you. And by the way, my kids watched it with me and my wife, Ashley, and they sat through the whole thing, but they're like not impressed at all by the Bumble. They're like, yeah, he's not scary at all. I'm like, no, he's scary. Roar. And they're like, no, he's not. I'm like, oh, come on.
Well, just for point of reference, if this is for any new listeners, how old are your kids, Francisco? Are they like 18 and 24?
At this point in time, 2022, they're yeah, they're that old. They are 10 and 7.
Okay.
Yeah. Kirk, let's go with you. How old are your kids? No. How do you rate Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer?
Okay. Yeah, I originally rated it classic. Watching the movie, I watched it with my 7-year-old yesterday, just to kind of catch up, and sat through it. He liked it. He actually encouraged him to want to watch more of the old classics.
Oh, cool. So,
and I'm just gonna throw that out there. I still think it's a classic. I think it's one of the ones that, regardless what your age or where you are, it's a staple of Christmas, and you must sit through the torturous 30 minutes because it is mandatory, right? I don't know how many minutes it really is, but
it's almost an hour.
So unlike Andy's kids, your son is cultured. That's amazing. That's so nice.
100%.
Yeah, well, he really wanted to move on, to be honest, but he wanted to watch more movies, though. He didn't run away.
That's right. That's right.
You held him against his will.
Oh, well, that sort of makes
Watch this with me. Now,
so we have
just a heads up, my other two kids are 13 and 22 now, and neither one of them would ever want to watch this movie. So, just being honest.
Paul?
Yeah, it's good to know.
You had predicted classic. Yeah. What's your final rating?
Yeah. So I watched this with my 9-year-old dog, and he was not interested at all. But no, this is a classic for me. I enjoyed this. Had been a while since I seen it, and this is actually the first time I saw it in HD. So before it was like that TV, the kind that we had watched earlier when we were kids. It was amazing to me to watch the detail of, like, it looked like you like this is like a set and these are moving objects on a set. So that was fun for me to watch this time around. I thoroughly enjoyed it. The positives far outweigh the good. I recommend anybody watch it. It's a classic for me. I would say I think I appreciate it more if I don't watch it every Christmas, but if I wait every other year or even 5 years or more in between each one, I appreciate it more. So I'd recommend that.
Yeah. For me, I'm pretty much in line with you, Paul. I had predicted nostalgic. I did enjoy watching this again. It was fun going back to it, and I had forgotten how much I liked Yukon Cornelius, and I'd forgotten how the Misfit toys really fit into everything. So that was cool, sort of rediscovering that. I hated Santa more, but I thought on the whole, definitely a worthy entry, especially with like you said, where we mentioned before, the songs, the animation.
Yeah.
So according to the
those songs you can go ahead and listen to every year. Those are fun.
Yes. But according to the Retro Rewind podcast, we rate Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer a disputed classic film. We'd recommend anyone go see it, whether or not you've seen it before. But now it's time to get back to our own time. Good old 20XX.
20XX.
Comsat online. Receiving incoming transmission.
Feels good to be back. But we wouldn't have been able to travel back to 1964 to begin with if it weren't for our amazing reflux capacitors, namely Jared Holzhauer, Deborah Powers, Brian Keene, Patrick Hicks, Chris Cowan, Geek Devotions, The Untold Podcast, James Kennison, Drew of the Cellcast, Ashley Ruiz, Pastor Dewson, Kenneth and Redeemed Otaku, That's Our Babu, Josh Adams, D. Tungsten, Andy Lewis, Jeff, The Dapper Man Reviews, Mr. Lost, Daryl Hafner, Rosie, in addition to 7 other awesome patrons as well. Thank you all so much for keeping the gigawatts coming. And if you want to help keep us flying and get bonus content for your generosity, head over to retrorewindpodcast.com/support to start.
This stream sponsored by PaulJPowers.com.
And while we're thanking people, we want to give a big bumble hug to Kirk Palance and Andy Ricketts for their support with this about Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. And since I like to go alphabetically, we'll start with Andy. Where can people find you online? Is there anything cool you got going on?
I have the Rushmore show going on. So, I mean, yeah, that's what we're here. We're part of a podcast going on a year now.
Whoa,
we're just about to
You
make
guys
it
have a podcast? Where are the
Yeah,
cheats?
we're not strangers on the yeah, so
we got to try
rank our
that
top-
out, Francisco.
We rank our top 4 of things, and we have a lot of fun, and we talk about pop culture cats and ways to eat peanut butter. So a lot of fun stuff, man.
Very cool.
Nice.
Yeah.
Which was episode 4, by the way, if you want to.
That was way back.
Where?
Yeah, find YouTube. We're on YouTube, the Rushmore show.
On YouTube. Okay, I was just
pretty-
about to ask. Okay, go to YouTube for the Rushmore show.
Yep.
And Kirk.
Yeah,
Thank
same
you.
thing. I mean, you can find both Andy and I on all the social outlets individually, as we're both youth pastors. We're both teachers, to be honest, which is kind of ironic. And but we started the Rushmore show about a year ago, and it's been a fun ride.
Yeah.
December 20th will be our year anniversary, if you will.
Awesome.
And yeah, you can find us on YouTube. As with the Rushmore show, they're on all major social media outlets as well. So
Very cool. Thank you again so much, Kirk, Andy, my red-nosed, awesome co-host Paul, and all you readers, new and old, for another fun voyage.
Thanks for calling out my drinking. You're welcome. And you can find me, PaulJPowers.com, at PaulJPowers.com. Oh, is it my turn?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. Hold on. Insert here.
This podcast is a proud member of Culture Box, a curated collection of podcasts, videos, and articles that will provide you a balanced meal of content. You will find culture celebrated for its past and future, satirized for its extremes, explored in study, and created anew in story. Point your web browser to culturebox.media.
Did we skip you, Francisco, saying where we can find you?
Yeah, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it.
As Nathan just said, we are now part of Culture Box Media Network. You can find all the shows unpacking truth through story, comedy, and geekery at culturebox.media. I think that's on the web.
Whoa.
With that, Captain, we are on final approach to base with Rudolph guiding our way because he's a slave.
Hopefully the
Yeah.
bumble's helping him. But thank you, EXO, and thank you all for listening. We pray you are more joyful today than when you first hit play. But like a Pokemon, we gotta catch you all for our 10-year anniversary episode on Chrono Trigger. I have a hunch it's a pretty good episode. On our next installment of the Retro Rewind podcast.
Sorry, I didn't realize that was me. Hold on.
No worries, Paul.
Here we go.
Retro Rewind mission complete. Proceed to nav point Omega and return to base.
Do you think Yukon Cornelius kidnapped that Bumble?
Maybe, but let's talk about another kidnapping in our review of the final episode of Firefly.
Ship like this, be with you to the day you die.
Retro.
Because it's a death trap.
The pod of rewind.
Pretty cunning, don't you think?
They were robbed of time, young indeed made them poor. Burnt out on dullness, what was it all for? With Firefly now, What reviews will they find? The hero of time, Retro of Rewind.
We gotta go to the crappy town where I'm a hero.
Yes, it is our final installment. Paul doesn't have to listen to that anymore.
Woohoo!
Of our reviews,
And there was much rejoicing.
Oh my gosh.
Yay.
Of our reviews of Firefly as we make our way to our Christmas episode this year of the movie Serenity. And what episode did we cover this time, Paul?
All right. This is episode 14 titled Objects in Space. It was released December 13th of the year 2002. So 20 years ago, almost exactly.
Wow, craziness.
Now, Captain, can you give us a one-sentence synopsis of this episode? Can you do it one last time for Firefly?
A bounty hunter sneaks aboard Firefly to capture River, but River somehow gets the upper hand and gets all the crew together to overcome the bounty hunter.
I love my captain.
Thank you. I tried. Awesome, guys. Well, let's go through and say what would be our classic maker of this episode. Actually, and before I do, Andy, have you seen Firefly before? Or is this your first time watching?
Yeah. I watched episode 14 this week. That's the before.
Okay. How about you, Kirk?
So before this watch, you've never seen it before. No Serenity, no Firefly, no nothing.
Fireflies outside, like actual fireflies. That's the closest that I've.
You have little spaceships
Nice.
outside. That's amazing.
Yeah, their butts glow and everything.
Yeah.
How about you, Kirk?
So yeah, I have been wanting to watch this for many, many years as I'm a sci-fi fan.
Oh, cool.
And I actually watched episode 1 probably about 12 times.
Okay.
In my life.
Wow.
And I've never watched episode 2 or further. So I've always kept trying to watch it. And I was like, yeah. And then when I knew this was coming up, I'm like, man, I'm going to push through. So yesterday or day before yesterday, I started watching. I probably watched 2 or 3 each day. This morning,
Oh,
I ended up
cool.
watching. I skipped forward.
Yeah.
I took a little blast to the past and fast forward and watched the last episode.
Very cool. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So let's go around and say what our classic maker, like our favorite thing about this episode was. Let's start with you, Kirk. What did you really enjoy about this episode?
Well, I kind of liked. Well, I got a couple notes here. I'm just going to go with the obvious one for me. Nathan Fillion. He makes the whole show for me. He's the only reason I really wanted to watch the show, to be honest. And
Yeah.
I really like him as a character.
Yes.
He's fantastic in this one.
And I kind of had that feeling that he was going to show up and be the guy to rescue at the end.
Oh, did you? Oh, wow.
I
Good
was like,
for you.
oh, come on. It's got to be him sooner or later.
Well,
Nice.
I almost felt like River was the one that rescued everyone, but
But no, but he's the captain is the one that got rid of him. River couldn't.
Well,
I'm talking about at the last moment
Yeah,
there.
he's the one
I
that
know,
pushed
but
that object out.
River's
in
the
space.
one that told him to go up, get out of the spaceship.
Yes,
She had
yes,
the whole thing
yes.
going.
It wouldn't have happened without River.
Yes.
Yes, ultimately River did do it, but it was by the captain's hands, which was a
Yes, all right.
nice.
I will
yeah.
take that. Yes, absolutely. But yeah, absolutely. That I can totally get behind that. I have a man crush on Nathan Fillion. That's no secret to anyone. Andy, what's something you enjoyed? I know this is totally fresh to you, but was there something you liked about this episode?
One thing.
That's it.
The fact
When the
that
credits roll.
Alan Tudyk is in it.
Yes.
So I love Alan Tudyk.
Yeah.
I really like him. I had no idea he was in it. And then it cuts to the scene. I'm like, oh, there he is. Cool. There's something I like. So I found one thing. The fact that Steve the Pirate from Dodgeball is on a spaceship in 2002 is really
awesome.
So, Francisco,
Yes.
he's hardly in this episode. Would you recommend an episode of Firefly for Alan Tudyk fans?
Oh,
Which one would you?
I mean, certainly the pilot. I think he's great in the pilot.
That's where the
especially his
dinosaurs.
dinosaur
He's playing with the
thing.
dinosaurs.
Yeah,
It's a
so
great
good.
intro. Yeah.
And then I guess War Stories, because him and Mal are like headline.
Is that the one where they get captured?
Yeah, the one where they get captured. Plus,
Yeah, he seems to be in. That's when I would think he's in the most. Yeah.
yeah. So those would be my mine. To,
Yeah,
to pick.
Good call.
honestly, it's just the fact that I saw him and I was like, okay, there's something I can really.
That's good enough.
I feel some No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Paul, how about you? What is something you really enjoyed about this episode?
I liked the plot
Mhm.
of a skilled assassin, by the way, which I thought was a very fascinating character in and of
Yes.
itself.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then the idea of how do you get rid of such a character and
Yeah.
how that all played out, I thought was great.
Yes. And I think that, man, I am so torn because that character is so interesting, but I really dislike him. I don't like that.
Yes, you're supposed to not like him, but yeah.
Yeah. So I think it's a great foil. He's an excellent foil for River's cunning in outsmarting him, even when and they do a great job of setting up with like the gun at the beginning that she has, that maybe she is deciding to leave and leave everyone, but that she's just playing him the whole time, which I think just incorporates her even more into the crew, because I think that's great. So
Yeah.
and you wouldn't have had as good of a payoff if that villain, Jubal early, something
Sure.
early, was
Yeah,
as good as it was.
Jubal early.
Yeah. So okay, those things we liked. What didn't we like about this episode? Maybe Nathan Fillion wasn't enough, or Alan Tudyk wasn't enough, but no. Let's do it again, Kirk. What didn't you like about Objects in Space?
Yeah, I just lost my train of thought because I was going to give you another one I liked.
Oh.
But let me.
We just do a short snapshot reviews for these Fireflies.
Let's not do a whole.
Anyways,
throw a like in there.
Some of the things that I didn't like. Well, one of the things that I really didn't like was the reveal of her in River in the spaceship. I really wanted her to be a part of the spaceship.
Yeah, I think that would have been really cool, actually. Yeah,
I was like really hoping that was what was happening, and she's this weird spirit in the boat, and she was going to be like navigating them in their future, and she was going to be like the Vision, if you will, kind of that voice.
I thought that would be really
when it
cool
happened,
too.
I was like, oh well, okay, that's cool, but it was a twist. But I would rather, I don't know, I would have rather the other way.
I completely go. I'm on board with that. I think that would have been a very cool direction to go for sure.
I'm gonna have to disagree with you guys. I think I like the practical outcome of, oh, I didn't see this happening, and this is how it was done. I appreciate, rather than, oh, she's not human anymore.
I love the plot twist. I was just, as it was happening, my brain was moving around trying to figure out what I missed in the 4 episodes that I didn't watch. That was somehow putting her in the space. I was like, now I have to go back and watch because something happened.
Gotcha.
And then it was like, oh, it was all a ruse. It was all
So you may disagree.
Although they do reference things in this episode of the past 4 episodes.
They absolutely do.
Which I was like, I don't know what they're talking about.
Yeah.
Paul, so you disagree with that with the desire to have her merge with the ship, but what did you disagree? What was disagreeable about this episode to you?
Well, one of the things I found confusing was at the beginning, where they're doing these alternate takes of when she's listening in on people, and I didn't understand it. Is she hearing their thoughts, like, oh, this is what they're really thinking, or is this what she thinks they're thinking about her? You know, that's not necessarily what they're thinking, but she thinks that's what they're thinking about her. Or is it like, or what's going on? Or even like when she's talking with the assassin, he starts doing all these multiple takes. I'm like, what? I found it confusing of what exactly was going on. But the thing that is the worst is that there's not enough Alan Tudyk. There's not enough focus on the main cast.
Yeah.
So when I first saw this run on Fox when it first aired, I only saw a few episodes, and this was the last one I saw because I didn't know it was the last one they aired. But after watching that one, I was like, yeah, I don't need to watch any more of this. And I stopped watching it, not knowing that it had been canceled after that, because it's just like, if this is what it's all about, it's I can do better elsewhere, maybe.
That's fair.
So I just thought it was less of the main cast, even though it was an interesting story. There's something about it. I don't know quite what it is that
when it's more of an ensemble, it feels just more whole, more. there's just more resonance.
And
to
all
it.
the characters were in it much more than some episodes.
Yeah,
you know? I don't know. I can't explain it,
Yeah.
but anyway.
Andy, what was something that didn't resonate with you about this episode?
Honestly, everything that wasn't Alan Tudyk.
Oh my gosh.
No.
Yeah.
No. No, gosh, so many things. And again, I only watched episode 14. I have no frame of reference.
Yeah, I get
anything that's happening in this. I could sort of, I guess, kind of pick up on like what's sort of happening. Obviously, I don't know all the backstory and all that kind of stuff, but the fighting was horrible. The choreography of fight, like it's like, yeah, like what's it like? And then at the end, when he just throws him into space, and it's like, it's over. Well, that sucks.
Yeah, that's all
like,
it
I don't
takes.
know, like, it's like he's just like, well, that's all I can do. I'm floating away now. Like it's
So
so
horrible
horrible.
that, Andy. I almost
what
felt
would
like
you
it got
do, Andy?
canceled right before they filmed that push, and
Oh,
they
it's
were like, let's just end it. Let's just end it.
It's like I felt like they knew it was canceled. And they're like, screw it, whatever, it's over anyway. Like they just were like, we're not even gonna think about this. We're just gonna bye. Like,
I will say it's hard to believe for an assassin that well prepared isn't prepared to have like some sort of mini jet propulsion on his suit.
Yeah. Good point.
Anyway.
All right. So that I was not expecting that, but that's fair, Andy, I suppose. For me, the thing I disliked the most was I think it's sort of similar to you, Paul. Though it's from a different take. I prefer the heist episodes where there's a mission and they're going on that mission.
Yeah.
I don't like where there's the only caveat to that is the out of gas episode where it does everyone's backstories, which I love seeing that.
Yeah.
But other than that, I prefer the ones where they have a job and they're trying to do the job and there's danger and they have to figure out a way out.
So they're like doing the main action rather than the main action happening to them. Is that
exactly?
it?
Yes.
Okay.
That's a good way
That
to
makes
put it.
sense.
Yeah. So that's just my preferred story for these characters for this group. I'm not saying that's for all things, but for this, that's the way I prefer it. All right, guys. And now let's talk about real quick what I can guess this for our two guests, but what character did you resonate with the most in this? Kirk, was it Nathan Fillion?
Honestly, my favorite character isn't Nathan Fillion.
Oh,
my favorite character is Jane.
Jane, yes.
And I just like his whole arc.
Yeah.
I liked. Okay, so it bounced from episode 6 or whatever I was on to that one, and in the beginning, kind of seeing all the and I was like, I can't wait for the Jane Mal fight and argument where they're going to try and flip and who becomes the captain and all that kind of thing.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I actually love his trope, and so I just really like that character. Obviously, Nathan Fillion's the beast, but yeah, there it is.
Okay,
I'm going to go with Jane.
Jane, nice. How about you, Andy?
It's not Alan Tudyk. I don't know. I mean, I watched one episode. I liked the doctor. What's the doctor's name?
Simon.
I liked how he was like talking back to the guys holding him hostage and stuff.
Yeah.
Funny. So,
Yeah.
I like him.
Yeah. How about you, Paul?
I actually like River in this.
Yeah.
The way she was able to outsmart.
Mm-hmm.
But what I really enjoyed is at the end in the spacesuit, when she's talking to the captain outside in the spacesuit, there she looked and acted like a child that everyone described her as through the whole series.
Yeah.
And I finally got that genuine, like, happy childness in her.
Exactly, yes.
And I was like, oh, this is the River we need to see more of.
Yes.
And then they cancel it.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Well, it's because you didn't want to watch anymore, Paul. If you would want to watch more, they would have kept it going. It's all you. All you.
I blame Joss Whedon.
That's fair.
Everyone else does.
For me, it's pretty much the same, Paul. River. I just really liked what she went through, though I think it would have been cooler, like you said, Kirk, if she had become merged with the ship. I think that would have been fascinating.
I thought that would have been new. Yeah.
Well, based on this episode, based on this episode, would you want to go on to see the movie Serenity? Because there aren't any more episodes.
Oh, interesting.
Would you want to go on to see the movie Serenity, or maybe in Andy's case, go back and watch the series? Let's start with Kirk. Did this episode sort of like captivate you enough to want to seek out what happens next?
I can tell you this was not the one that would have made me want to do that.
That's
The whole
totally cool.
series, to be honest, is just a cult classic type thing. I already had planned to do that. It wasn't because of this episode. It was a decent episode.
Yeah.
It just is what it is.
All right. How about you, Andy?
No.
Yes.
Oh my
Love it.
gosh. How dare
Interesting
you?
take there. I mean, I don't know. I've only watched episode 14. I don't feel like I can give it a fair assessment.
No,
on
you
that.
give it the most fair. This is actually the
didn't
best
like
question.
it. I hated it. I'm just like, I don't even know what like. It was just not good.
No,
but again, and I hear you guys talking about some of the stuff that happened earlier, and I would be interested to maybe go see that. But if I'm just basing it off of what I have actually seen, no, then no, I don't want.
All right.
Yeah,
totally fair.
Exactly. I'm gonna go ahead and just jump right in because that's exactly how I felt when I first watched this. So my answer is exactly the same. Absolutely not. But after this is my first time watching it completely all the way through, and now I really like. Before I hated this episode. Like, oh, I'll watch all the other episodes, fine, but I don't want to watch this one again. But watching this one, because I watched all the ones leading up to it, and they made references to previous one. And because I had that character growth and development from those previous episodes, I was more involved in this story. And I really appreciated and really enjoyed this episode this time through.
Awesome.
So to answer your question, no, I wouldn't based on this episode alone. But I also want to give just a hey there. This episode's unfair to ask that question because it's so unlike the rest of the series. It's one of those episodes that isn't a good episodic one that is only really paid off after a long series.
Yeah. And I'm in the exact same boat. This is one of my least favorite, if not my least favorite episode of the whole series.
It's my least favorite, definitely.
It's just, I mean, it's there. It's an object floating in space, but it's not anything all that memorable to write home about. But having seen the whole series, I totally would want to see the movie, having had that investment of time and really growing to adore these characters so much. So based on this episode, no. Based on watching the series, yes, absolutely. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for another review of Firefly. According to the Retro Rewind podcast, we'd recommend don't go and see the movie after watching this episode. But until next time, stay shiny.
And good night.
Don't let the space bugs bite.
All right, guys.
That ends our episode.
Let's see. Yoshi, Ashley, Dale, anyone else here? Stacy had to go. Star Fox, thank you all so much for being here. Sorry we started so late. We were having some technical issues that we had to figure out, but glad you're all here. Hopefully you enjoyed the episode. We're gonna now we can do one spiritual speculation.
Oh, okay. We're gonna do it.
I'll
cool.
do my best to get through one, and then we're gonna pause, and then we're gonna be done, and we're gonna transition to the Rushmore show after that.
Can we do one per person, and then Andy's one is all of his one?
No, Paul.
Joking. Whatever you want to do.
We can't do that.
No. It's fine. It's fine.
Okay. So I'm just gonna go right into it. Or actually, do any of you need to use the restroom or get water before you do? I should have asked that.
I was going to do that after this.
Okay, yeah, because hopefully, I imagine this will be quick. Welcome, rewinders and retro. That's how I start this. Welcome, reflux capacitors, to another spiritual speculation where we take where we talk about the spiritual themes and questions that the movies and games we cover on the podcast prompt us to think about. This time, this speculation is in reference to our Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer episode, which is you can listen to our review of that at retrorewindpodcast.com/266. But for now, here is our spiritual speculation. Let's go around real quick and say who we are, what our faith life was like growing up, and what we currently believe today. So my name is Francisco. I was raised Presbyterian and currently a non-denominational Protestant Christian. Let's go to Andy next. Are you
You
getting
might
pause?
be on mute.
Yeah, I'm not hearing you, Andy.
Yeah, I didn't hear you, Andy.
What happened? I don't think so, Ashley. Thank you, though.
Lasagna.
Which I'm really bummed about.
No. He unmuted and muted himself. That's weird. We still can't
Hey,
hear him.
nothing.
Of course,
Oh,
now he's not.
now we hear you.
Now we can. Yeah.
I wasn't even talking the whole time. I fooled all of you. No,
Uh-huh.
I don't know what happened. Weird. I didn't do anything different. I don't know what happened.
A Gatorade,
Technical
actually. Toast and Gatorade would be fantastic, please, Ashley.
I blame Restream. Even though we're not on.
Wow. Go ahead, and nothing on the toast, by the way, if it's not too late to request that. I'm sorry. This is Edna mode. I know this is me just talking to my wife right now. Through the miracle of technology.
Love it. All right, so I guess do I start back to where I was? What do I?
That's great.
Did I say? Did you guys hear anything?
No. So
No, we didn't hear
I'll
anything.
re-ask. Andy,
Yeah.
how about you?
Yeah, I did not grow up in a church going family, believing at all anything like that, and actually came to Christ at about 24 or 25
Okay, cool.
or so. I started attending church, and so now I'm the generations pastor, youth pastor at my church, and God's done a whole lot of craziness in my life that's definitely changed me from the person I was before. So yeah. I guess that's a long story for where I was and where I am now.
Very awesome.
No, that's pretty short. Just out of curiosity, so we know if what your belief is. What denomination are you? Or
Yeah, our church is Assemblies of God.
okay, cool.
So yeah,
Gotcha. I'm still waiting for a Disassemblies of God to show up in my area, but they
some churches might seem that way. So who knows?
Kirk, how about you?
Yeah, I was raised by what I thought was a Catholic family, but realized we just claim that. As you know, that's a Louisiana thing. You got to be a Catholic for a couple days.
Wow.
But
Christmas and Easter, those are the days.
yeah, well, not even priest or Catholic. I think I might have went to church aside from being at Catholic school, because I did that. Outside of Catholic school, I probably went to church 5 times in my life prior to. Yeah. But we said we were Catholic. Now, got saved, that whole 9 yards, in the same church that Andy is working. Matter of fact, Andy took my job. I gave it to him. I am credentialed as an Assembly of God pastor. Moved to Atlanta to be the missions director for the Atlanta Dream Center, and I am a elementary teacher. But I'm trying to do my own nonprofit just for ministry purposes. So there you go.
Very cool. And Paul, how about you?
So I was born with a defect and everyone hated me for it, and I ran away, and then I found a flying lion and he led me to Jesus, and now I'm a follower of him.
Was his name Aslan, Paul?
Exactly. How'd you know?
Moonraiser.
Oh my gosh. Wow, guys. Okay. So we have only time for one speculation tonight because we're about to go record the Rushmore show, which you should check out on YouTube. Just search the Rushmore show. And I'm going to kick it over to Andy. Was one spiritual theme, the best one of your 6 that you had that we can discuss?
Yeah, you're right. I have like 5 of them listed here. But the one that kept like just jumping out to me was the fact that that all of us as Christians have different gifts, and right, God has called us each to do something individually differently than the other person. And my mind immediately, like, as I'm, because I was prepped a little bit before this, but youth pastors, sometimes we can make a sermon out of this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Is 1 Corinthians 12, right? When he's essentially, Paul is saying, like, the body consists of many parts. The hand really can't tell that you're working, right? And all these things, like, what if the body completely of eyes? Like, what use would it be? So yeah, that's what I think of. And then you tie that into Rudolph, is like, he had the one thing, the shining red scary sounding nose, the worst sound. But it did serve a purpose, right? At the end of the day, even though Santa was a jerk, figured it out. There was a purpose for the gift and what had been given, what had looked like a curse or what had looked like a defect or what had looked like something that was horrible. Turned into, God. Now I'm preaching it. Sorry, turned into Santa using it for the good, right? And so we all have different gifts. We all have different purposes for the things that we do, and and we just discover those things kind of along.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely true. Do you think that there's well, before I go into it, Kirk, what do you think? What do you make of that? Do you feel like that's all bogus?
Yeah, this was going to be my spiritual speculation. Not right on the money, but pretty similar. My idea was we're kind of all on an island of misfit toys. We're all kind of on the same kind of situation, and we're looking for how to use our gifts, if you will, the way Andy's saying it, but to use our talent, use what we have to be the betterment of the world. And obviously we need someone like AKA Moonracer or Santa, someone to bring us in, Jesus Christ, to kind of hone in those skills, hone in those talents, and be something for someone. I remember in the actual in the show, there's an idea where he says, can you tell Santa to get us to find someone? And in the conversation, I think it was Charlie in the box says, or maybe it was one of the, I don't remember exactly who it was, but they say that Moonracer kind of flies around and finds all the misfit toys and brings them over until they can leave to make someone happy, or until they can leave. And so that we're all kind of in that space looking to kind of go out and find our plan and our purpose that God has already ordained for us. So that's kind of where I was going. He said it with the gifts, but yeah, kind of the same idea. I think that's the whole idea of this whole movie.
Going off of that, I'm curious, would you guys feel like there wouldn't be misfit toys if Adam and Eve, if we're the misfit toys, if Adam and Eve hadn't eaten the fruit of the knowledge of good and evil, would we? Sure. Are we misfits regardless?
No, because we'd be perfect. And
we would all still be perfect, and there would not be a need for Jesus the way I read it. So Jesus comes to fix that, and that original sin is the blemish. That original sin is the misfit part of that. So, I've always thought about this, though, Francisco, you bringing that up. If that never happened, would we have overpopulated the world?
God in his infinite wisdom could have expanded it.
Absolutely.
Obviously.
Or in his power.
Yeah, because there's just as many people living on the world today as there were ever to live prior. So you double it.
What I have heard.
Oh,
yeah.
Really?
So
it's more like the most ever. It's always like.
I think there's I don't know the number now, but if it's like 7 billion now, there was 14 billion total, something similar to that.
Yeah. There's enough space.
I see what you're saying.
Jesus is preparing one mansion for all of us. So if God can make it fit in one place.
But that's interesting that you say Jesus, we wouldn't have a need for Jesus. But the way I think about it, and I haven't done a lot of study in this, so this is speculation.
Blasphemy!
Speculation.
Sorry. Yeah.
But I tend to think of Jesus was what we were created through and in, like we were created by him.
All things were created
and for him.
Yeah.
And so in a way, the tree of life is Jesus in a form where we're eating of his fruit. We're drinking his, blood of the water of the river that comes out of Eden. So those are like symbols that point to Christ in the future.
Okay, good.
Yes.
I thought you were talking Jesus.
Where I misspoke was the fact that we didn't need Jesus. We would always need Jesus.
We
wouldn't have need Jesus's death.
Oh,
right? We wouldn't have
yes.
Right.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Actually, I had a question going back to Andy's point about if we're all the body, or parts of the body. But what if I'm a tooth and some wannabe dentist pulled me out?
then I guess
Yeah.
you're
Well,
in
then
a
you
world
can
of
put a
hurt, Paul.
star on the tree.
Yeah. No, those are all good points. Those
but,
are,
I mean,
are interesting to reflect on.
That's an interesting way of, if you think about like mass shootings or things like that, where there's God created these people and they're ripped away because of sin being in the world too soon. So in a way, are they then not able to? I guess they're not able to fulfill the purpose God had for them. But
Are we going into soul sleep versus?
I wasn't. No, I was just saying that.
Okay.
That do you feel like? Here's what I will say. Do you feel like their ultimate purpose will happen in eternity as opposed to here on Earth? If they're saved, I mean, we're not going to get into like babies being saved or not, or when that happens. I'm not saying that. Just let's, for instance, if let's say a kid was saved, gave his life to Christ, he died early, and like
but he didn't fill God's ultimate purpose in him as starting churches in Antarctica.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So would his actual purpose be in eternity doing some great work? Because I think we're still going to have work in eternity. We're not going to be just singing in the clouds or what have you. But so what do you guys think make of that?
No, this kind of leans into that once saved, always saved, that kind of story that would keep you much longer on here for that gallbladder situation. I will just say this. I think that God does have a plan and a purpose for everyone, including that mass shooter, and some people missed it. I'll just leave it there.
Oh, I wasn't talking about the mass shooter. I was talking about the kid that got shot by the mass shooter.
Or the kid.
Oh, okay.
You know, the kid, I mean, obviously, I mean, some people never got to fulfill it. Yeah. And I think God in his infinite wisdom and his infinite creativity has the people that he wants with him. I
do that. We have to know that it's
knowledge of him. And I wish we had all the answers. That's one of my questions that I have for Jesus when I get there. Not you know, is you know, why that, right? You know, and I think that's just a tough answer that any of us can answer. I don't think it's a salvation.
Sometimes there's what happens in the wake of these tragedies, and I'm not saying like this. So don't get me wrong here. Like this was not the purpose for this kid necessarily, or I wouldn't imagine that. But I think about so many of like the funds that are raised afterwards, or like the organizations that then maybe promote against gun violence, or you know what, I don't know, whatever thing that happens, foundations that come after the fact. Again, I don't believe, or you know, whatever, maybe this was not the purpose for this kid being on Earth, right? But I think that are things that can come out of tragedy, right? That he can cause all things to work together for the good for those who are called, you know, who love him and are called according to his purpose, right?
And also, what you meant for evil, God meant for good. So that
exactly, yeah. So I think that there's good that's always going to be able to come out of those things. Again, now speaking to the purpose, you know, I think that's just a reality of sin that we have in the world. Like we'll never quite understand on this side. You know, death and all this stuff comes into the world because of that original sin. And you know, it's unfortunate we don't have those answers on this side.
Yeah, absolutely.
Can I try to answer your question, Francisco?
I was going to give you the final word, Paul, so go for it.
Okay, so here's my just to circle back to your original question. The tooth that's pulled out, the kid that is shot early, was there, what can you restate it? Was his purpose, like the reason God made him, designed him, was the purpose he had in mind for that kid, one to be fulfilled in eternity, since it seemed like he didn't have a chance of it fulfilling it, or he or she didn't have a chance of fulfilling it here on Earth. Okay. Two parts. First part is no. Okay. The first part is no, and the second part is yes. The first part is no, because it's not like, oh, I'm like, he was supposed to start mission churches in Antarctica, and now those sailors that ever reached there can't be reached or whatever, and it's like, darn, that shooter got him, and now God's upset. Now we have to change course and alter history. No, God knew ahead of time that he was going to be cut short. So You're not disappointing God. You're not like, altering his ultimate plan
I
in
wasn't
that.
trying to say that.
So that's my first answer of no. You're not stopping a greater purpose for him. God already, that wasn't his ultimate purpose. What he may have thought, or other people may have thought, but ultimately it's not.
Yeah.
So that's A, where it's no. B, where it's yes, is that ultimately our purpose is to glorify God. So in our time here on earth, whether we're 5 years old or 95 years old, our purpose is to glorify God. And if that's cut short, then yes, we will continue that in the afterlife and glorify him regardless. That's what we were made for. And we will continue our purpose in that.
That's a great way to end it. Thank you, Paul. Thank you so much, Andy, Kirk. I would have loved to have gone on more and more with you guys on this, but thank you for understanding the issues I'm having. I appreciate you and you as well, Paul. And for all of us, we bid you all shalom.
That means peace.
Oh, you didn't change the baby face. What's going on?
I know. Because I have a red nose.
Oh my gosh.
I wasn't prepared.
Oh, wow. Okay, I'm going to end the stream. Thank you, everyone here who is live watching us. And there you go, Paul. There you go. So here is your stream face.
Bye-bye, everyone.